As I'm sure you all have seen by now, vaulting is less than a week away. If you haven't seen, I got you covered. What's up, guys? We're excited to share that we will be running the test servers for PC 1.0 for the first time next week, says the developers at Bluehole. We would like to invite our players to test vaulting and climbing and other existing features and systems we have modified. The test servers will be up for several days to allow everyone to try out the test build and give feedback. So there you guys have it. Guaranteed next week, which is only a few days away, we will have ourselves several days on the test server with some of the new features coming to PC 1.0. Next, they list the key changes that will be in this round of testing, which are client and server optimization. And let's be straight up real for a second. This should be the real feature everyone is most excited about. Don't get me wrong, the prospect of vaulting is uncontrollably exciting, but honestly, this game is perfectly enjoyable right now. Like, I'm having a pretty fun time, so long as we don't have latency issues killing us around corners or after we're inside doorways, or lag preventing us from picking up loot and firing the gun we just reloaded, or massive FPS drops getting us knocked off buildings, containers, or ultimately getting us killed. So seriously, all aboard the optimization hype train, the real hero we deserve with the PC 1.0 build. Okay, moving on to the next feature, vaulting and climbing. Despite being eclipsed by the importance of optimization improvements, vaulting and climbing is still a huge deal. This game needs it, because right now we stumble around like idiots barely capable of hopping over a 4-inch curb. If you're wondering about the distinction between vaulting versus climbing, or just why there's a difference of verbiage in the first place, the Action and Gunplay lead wrote a short piece clarifying the terms. Vaulting refers to the action of crossing over an obstacle, whereas climbing refers to a motion where the characters end up standing on top. Alright, so there is so much packed in here, but I will try to highlight what's important. Initially, they planned vaulting to be for objects up to 1 meter high, but since have expanded it to objects ranging up to about 2.3 meters high. I'm guessing there was some pre-created object in mind, like shipping containers, that force them to move that number to 2.3 meters. They say that nearly any object that meets those dimensions should be scalable. There's roughly 40 different animations to allow for a lot of flexibility, and the way this all works is rather than building triggers into each object, they developed a geometry scanning system that scans objects as you approach them, and then an algorithm decides if you can scale that object and what animation and moveset is required to do so. This gets pretty detailed. Objects that are about chest height and shorter can be scaled with weapon in hand. I'll have to test what kind of shooting, if any, can be done during this process, or if this just means you'll be immediately ready to shoot once over the object. I like that they gave physical, visible measurements such as chest height versus 1.2 meters or something like that, which means nothing to me in game. When I release my videos, I will try to do the same. Rather than exclusively spit out pointless numbers, I'll try to give you guys exact objects for visible, tangible reference when possible. Now, climbing or vaulting, anything over chest height will automatically holster your weapon during the animation sequence. We'll see if holstering it yourself before getting to the object speeds up that process. Running will build momentum that carries through the vault and speeds the process up. You can climb or vault from a stationary position, but it will realistically slow the process down. Furthermore, objects that have enough space to stand on the top of can be climbed, placing your character in a standing position on top. But you can alternatively slide or dive over the skinnier objects by holding run and carrying your momentum through the whole process. What I'm trying to say is you can walk up to a thin wall and climb it to stand on top, or you can enforce vaulting by running and using your momentum to slide right over. Seriously epic stuff. Well done, Bluehole. Of course, not having released it to public testing, they expect there to still be issues, so what we see and what we finally get might be two different things. By the way, vaulting is not replacing jumping. You will still be able to jump, and they said nothing about crouch jumping, so I'm assuming it will remain in the game. Only know that vaulting by default will be set to the same key as jump, and that geometry scanning system will determine what action is used as you approach windows, walls, etc. You will have the option to split the keybinds if you want to separate the key for both jump and Vault. Moving on to the third feature, we find vehicle driving changes. Nothing more specific here. We know they said a complete overhaul of the vehicle mechanics is required for the PC 1.0 build. Right now, half the vehicles feel like you're driving on a moon rover in outer space, so any change is welcome here. It's a really hard balance to achieve both realism, but also that video game epicness that allows for crazy stunts and fun moments. But we'll see what they have in store with these changes. Alright, the last thing they list is Ballistics Overhaul. This one is pretty interesting because it snuck up on us, being eclipsed by all the other big changes. But ballistics is the science of projectiles and firearms, so I'm not exactly sure what we'll see here, but I did intentionally hold off doing weapon guides as they routinely added and rebalanced weapons throughout the build. Looks like I'll finally have to dive into that to figure out what these changes are. That is it for the 4 features listed for next week's test server. They stress that this test server will have bugs that are going to be fixed before the 1.0 build, given there are no major roadblocks. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to try it all out. Another thing they have really been trying to accentuate is their countermeasures for hackers or cheaters. As you know, just yesterday they incorporated a new system that has been long in development, and in just 24 hours it banned over 20,000 more hackers. They both dedicated part of these patch notes to talking about their anti-cheat measures, and they tweeted out saying, "In addition, we'd like to assure you that we will continue to introduce new measures to quickly detect and ban cheaters." It sounds like despite banning, around 400,000 cheaters, they have been collecting data and preparing for an assault against cheaters. Now it sounds like we're finally going to start seeing the fruit of their labor as they use that data to incorporate new auto detection systems into the game. But it's hard to say specifics about such a complex problem with such a complex answer. Nonetheless, let's all hope they can figure this hacker problem out soon, and of course remember, even big dogs like Counter-Strike are still full of hackers and cheaters to this day. Something we'll have to live with, but at least we can sleep at night knowing we have skill or are working hard to improve our skill versus being one of those losers that needs auto-aim. That's it for this video, guys. I can't give as much time as I would like to this channel at the moment, but I'm working so hard to clear my plate before the next couple of weeks so that I can bring you guys awesome strategies with the new content and help skyrocket you ahead of the competition. Until the next video drops, I will see you guys on the Battlegrounds.